Hey! Welcome to the Hot Box. We're here live. It's what day is it? Saturday. It's another big week. We had a big week. We were out there. We were working. We were earning our paychecks. But now it's the weekend. And we get to let loose a little bit. Woo! Yeah! How you guys doing? We're here right now with Joe Malloy and Mark Roth are my guests today.
What's going on?
I don't know. It's a big week. I don't know. I guess we'll make some announcements first. For the Hot Box Live, we got some big guests coming up. I just lined up some more interviews. This is great. The Hot Box it's this new thing we're working on, and thanks Joe for being here early on. You're getting on the ground floor.
Hey, I dig it, man.
Floor, man. This is gonna be the next big thing, man. This is the Hot Box is the next big thing. We're blowing up, man. What do you think? You guys aren't into it. Get the fuck out of here right now. Mark's texting. Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm actually checking the live stream.
Oh,
he's on there.
Going?
Yeah.
Is our live stream up and running?
Yeah, it's up and running. There's people talking in the chat.
Awesome. Hello,
everybody.
How
Mario says he has to work tomorrow. So.
Oh, well, Sunday. Hey, Sunday fun day. Get your work started early so you can start a day earlier on your weekend. Whatever, man. We're all on a different schedule, but we're all lined up with each other here. It doesn't matter when you watch it live later. You're here live with us right now. You can watch it later. Wait till the weekend to watch it. Fine. If you got to work tomorrow, postpone it. You can watch this. This is going to be up on the internet forever. You can watch it whenever you want, dude.
Let's hope so.
Until we get ripped down.
Sure.
Watch
we get deplatformed, huh? I don't know. I don't think I have to worry about it yet. If I get deplatformed, that means I'm like on the radar. That means I'm
they're skimming pretty deep there.
If they got to deplatform me, that means like we're making the right moves. So I don't know. And we got moves coming up for the Hot Box next week. We got a comedian friend of mine. His name's Nick Hart. He was just on Conan a couple weeks ago. So like that's pretty cool to have like he's a good friend. Awesome. He's been a friend of mine before he was ever on Conan. So then like. It's good. Now, like, I could have him on my show. Because if he wasn't on TV, I don't want him, you know? I'm just kidding. He's a really cool guy. So he'll be here Monday night. We'll be doing that Monday night at 8. And then also, we got Owen Schroyer lined up for an interview, the host of The War Room on InfoWars. He's going to come on the channel, and we're going to do...
He's going to come on your show?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be here. We're going to return the favor, man.
Oh,
like,
sure.
He had me on his show. I got to have him on mine, you know?
Live via Skype.
Speaking of, what is their show going out on? Is it just Infowars.com and their app? And
No, they're using BitChute, and then I think they're also using Real Video, and then right through their...
Real Video. See, that's the one that interests me.
Yeah, you know, basically the way I look at it is if you want to get it, you can find it, you know?
Right.
It's like ask Metallica. Like they were trying to keep their stuff suppressed, and people were still like Napster. You know, people were still downloading stuff. We can still get stuff that you're trying to keep from us. Imagine if like the person's trying to promote it, and we're trying to get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you can't keep the stuff that you don't want us to have. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but like if you can't stop us from downloading your music, you definitely can't stop us from getting our Alex Jones fix. You want to create a black market for Alex Jones? That's the last thing you need. Mark, what are you looking at?
I'm talking to the chat.
Oh, you're talking to the chat? Thanks.
Yeah.
How's the chat, Mark?
It's mostly just Mario Gomez, but he's excited about Owen. I said we are too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. But I'm excited actually tonight to have Joe Malloy.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Other people, we got all the business out of the way. I just wanted to make some announcements because we had a big week. We did the Alex Jones petition last week, and that was great. We actually we're just so excited that things are going the way they are. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the video.
It's kind of crazy.
Great.
Did you?
Yeah, I watched the video. Mark showed it to me last week.
Mark made the whole thing.
Like,
yeah.
I went out there and acted like, you know, like, I guess
It's crazy because we're kind of just learning on the fly. Like,
Sure.
I don't know how to edit videos. He doesn't know how to star in videos. Like, we're just trying to figure it out.
But it's working.
Yeah,
It's working.
yeah.
But that's good, man. It's you guys want to do something and you're going out and doing it. I got a lot of respect for that, regardless of like, whatever beliefs and things like that. Like it's still going out there, and because you guys, like, the petition itself that you went out last weekend with was all about just free speech and censorship, right?
Right.
Do you got a copy right there?
Boom, I got a copy.
Oh,
right here.
shit. Let me read it.
Look at this. Yeah, here, I'm going to show it to the screen here. It's kind of, I don't know if you can actually read it.
Out
Let's
of
see.
focus a little.
Very. Look at that. It's just a blank.
Oh, yeah,
this
it's
whole
a
thing
super-
has been redacted. This has been redacted. You can't actually read the petition. Now, here, if you want to check it out, there it is. But, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
lighting
We
is too
created
much.
some conversations. It was kind of,
Yeah.
was really interesting.
A little bit of
It
resistance.
was cool,
at
and I
first.
mean, I think it's an easy argument when you look at how it was such a cohesive action against Infowars, and I don't know. And it was mostly just based on the fact that they were Republican, I think, or more right leaning.
And I do understand that there is an argument, like, against, it's a private corporation argument, but that's a very, in my view, that's a very kind of authoritarian, totalitarianism move. Like, there's also reports out that Facebook is working with the government to shut down dissenting pages and all kinds of different pages.
Well, they're funded by the government when they first started. They're subsidized by the government. They're basically created by the government. They're like a CIA operation, if you ask me.
So it's really hard to trust anything that they do, especially, like you said, it's all happening at night, in one, like, fell swoop.
Yeah.
It seems to, like, set a message of, like, what can we get away with? And that's, I don't understand why there isn't more concern about that. It bothers me, especially with people who I really like and respect. Why do you guys think that this was a good thing?
Honestly, it made me side with Alex Jones more.
It's hard not to. Did you watch the H3 podcast? I don't know if you guys are familiar
I heard
with
about
that.
that.
That's insane. Okay, it was another podcast that was, while it was happening.
It's like a big podcast that's popular.
It's
with, like,
hugely
kids.
popular,
Huge,
yeah.
huge with kids.
Comedian,
like,
yeah.
I don't really.
I've never
I've
really
watched
watched
a few of
it.
them,
But
I
they
don't
were
understand
talking
it,
about the Alex Jones thing, and they were siding with YouTube, and the host was talking about, and they got shut down. Their live stream got shut down, and I don't think it's even back up yet. You got like a strike, and it takes
I think
process.
You get banned for like 90 days or
yeah, it's
30 days.
It's like 3 to 90 or something like that.
I haven't been banned yet. Knock on wood.
That's ridiculous.
So I haven't had any strikes.
It's really hard to argue that there's not vast censorship happening right now.
Or at the very least that you're like stifling free speech. Like, who cares?
And did you saw that report? I didn't read the follow up or any kind of follow up on it yet. I wonder if you saw this, Tyler. The Google employees who were kind of resisting the proposal that they were making to make a Google search for China. One that would allow the censored information, like it would block all the censored information that they want, but still have Google in China. Yeah, there's a bunch of employees that are trying to say no.
Well, we have a friend who works for Facebook, and we were talking to him about this the other day, and he was telling us that at least at his level, and he's been there for a while,
6 or 7 years, he said.
So 6 or 7 years. So the bigger part of Facebook's wherever, like, he's been with them for the bigger part of their business moves.
Yeah, they were like all the college kids, like up
through
until
the
like
IPO
2012,
and to the point where they became a full-fledged business.
Okay.
And so he's been with them for a long time, and he says on his level, it's like he's like a pro-gun guy, and he's into he's like kind of a libertarian about stuff, and he says at his level, there's a lot of guys like him, and he doesn't know anybody that would sacrifice their morals for the company. But he said that, and it made me, at first I was like, thank God, it's not like these people are run by crazy people. But at the end of the day, all it takes is one decision, and then they 12 people in a room decide, hey, this is what we're going forward with, tell everybody to do this. And then they do it all in the middle of the night at one time, they do it, and then by the time all the employees realize what they did was screwed up, it's already been done. And then, do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, like it's you got people on the inside that are, that tell themselves they're gonna act with their morals, but if their job's really on the line, are they really gonna have morals, or are they gonna say, I don't know, there's Alex Jones guy, who cares? Who cares, man?
I don't want to like shine a light on that one individual, but like especially the kind of numbers and money that they deal with, like it's a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't want to, people do have some sort of number that they'll tend to shy away to corruption. Not that they're all paying off.
What's your number?
It's nothing I'm getting right now. That's for sure.
10 grand. 10 grand up front. Let's do this. I need some new cameras. I need a new studio.
What's the information you're leaking
a new crew
or not
that doesn't
leaking?
just sit and look at their phone the whole time. That'd be nice.
Shut up.
No, I have an excellent crew. I wouldn't trade this crew for the world. Thanks, Mark.
Hey, yeah, sure.
No, and the thing with the free speech, and this is, I guess, the last thing I'll say about it for right now, because I've just been inundated with this for the last few weeks. It's kind of been like on my mind a lot. And going out, people would say, "Oh, they're a private business. They can do what they want." And if that's your view, that's your view, and I can understand that view. But at the end of the day, it's whether it's a private business or the government, people's reaction to it means that if it were a government, they would be okay with it. They don't care. They are okay with him being stifled. They want someone to shut him up. They don't care if it's a private business or the government. And if the government came in and did that, like we're finding out they don't care. They would be okay with censoring people's speech based on what they say and who they believe them to be. And I think that's insane. And this is the test case for it. And if Facebook can get away with it, if we let Facebook get away with this, then we're going to let the government get away with it next. It's going to be a matter of time before the government starts doing what Facebook did, because they saw Facebook do it. Facebook set precedent, and they found out that the people don't give a crap if you censor people over their political speech. People don't care. Actually, a lot of people want it. A lot of people are okay with it. A lot of people don't really like the First Amendment. A lot of people they don't really like America. They just think they live in some like they're all sovereign citizens or something. I don't know. I don't know what they think.
It's you have to allow the speech you disagree with. You have to, no matter how wrong you feel it is. You have to. So I don't see an argument for any of this.
And even Bill Maher came out and said that. Even Bill Maher came out on HBO and stuck up for Alex Jones because he knows he's next. Because he hates Muslims. So like, with all the crap he talks about, or all the talk he craps about Islam,
Yeah.
Like they're coming for him next, and he knows it. So I think people need to smarten up and realize that it's not going to end with Alex Jones.
Yep.
I don't know.
He's the canary in the coal mine.
Ooh, that's a good one. Where'd you hear that? Did you make that up?
Yep, on the spot.
Canary in a coal mine. Wow, Mark. You're a wordsmith.
All right. Are we going to watch this video?
What video?
Is that what you're doing?
Oh, yeah.
So
is this happening?
Mark showed me this earlier.
I showed this to Trevor. I saw this online earlier. It blew my mind. It's amazing. We'll play it and then we'll explain it.
Okay.
All right, we're going to play the whole video? How long is it?
It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right, yeah, we'll play the whole video
I
then.
cut it a little bit up so that it's
okay.
A little bit more palatable. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Asgardia, the space nation. What the heck?
Okay.
This is real?
This is real.
100%.
Do we know it's real?
I looked it up. As far as I can see, it looks real.
Okay, wait a minute. Can you define real for me, Mark? Like how
it
real
is.
this?
I am gonna watch a thing, so that does make a thing
People
real.
said these words, but are they serious?
Yeah, they're super serious. No, these people are super serious about this.
So that's what I mean. So
yeah,
this
these
is real.
people are serious.
These
Okay.
people are serious.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess let's check it out. Oh my God, they are serious.
The head of justice of Asgardia, Mr. Yun Chao, is also invited to the stage.
A little lower, Trevor.
Hofburg, Vienna.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask everyone to stand up and welcome the first head of space nation of Asgardia in the history of mankind, Igor Ashurbeili.
What?
Okay. Okay.
Who
Oh no. Igor.
Who is this guy?
This is the
President
leader.
of Asgardia.
Please
It's not called Asgardia.
the solemn oath of the
Asgardia.
head of the first space nation is sworn to the head of parliament, Mr. Lembik Opik.
So the First Nation of Asgardia uses the sacred flower in the sacred geometry and is not
Today,
democratic.
as I accede to the position as the head of nation of the space kingdom of Asgardia, I solemnly swear to be faithful to the spirit and the letter of the Constitution of Asgardia and to be
Can you
the
read the
guarantor
Constitution?
of its
Yeah, it's
observance, to
Oh my
protect
God.
the rights and freedoms of Asgardians, to protect the sovereignty, cohesiveness and independence of Asgardia, and to serve its people.
The solemn oath of the head of the first space nation, Asgardia,
Reptilian.
in the history
reptilian.
of mankind, has been accepted. Congratulations.
By the way, this guy, Igor, he pretty much owns all of this.
So this is like his attempt at like starting essentially a
space
company
nation.
that's gonna just
The
live
head
in
of
like international
justice
space
lays
stations
the
or not
sign of the
international.
head of nation
As guardians.
on
Is
the
this purple heart?
shoulders
What is this?
of Igor
2
Ashurbeili.
chains.
What was that?
You
The wrong
put it
way.
on backwards,
Put-
you fucking
Put it
idiot.
on the wrong way.
He looked like he was gonna kill him.
He's
The
been executed
inauguration
already.
He is
of
upset.
Igor Ashbeli as a head of the first nation of
North Korean
Asgardia
slave.
in the history of mankind is completed. Congratulations.
Okay, what the hell is this?
The national anthem of Asgardia is played.
Oh, wow.
All please rise.
Oh my god. Is Roseanne gonna sing it?
I skipped through this.
So they got the name from the comics, though, right? They got it from. That's Thor. That's Thor's land.
This
comics are
nation
based
of
on the religion.
Asgardia
Asgardian.
in the history of mankind, Igor Ashurbeili is being given.
Is this Thanos?
Asgardians,
Asgardian.
dear members
I
of
know, that's so
parliament, diplomats, guests, and mass media representatives. This day will certainly be recorded in the annals of the greatest events in the history
This
of
feels like a
humankind.
sketch.
No, it's real.
Just 20 months have passed
I mean,
since the announcement
government
was
is
made
kind of a
of the
sketch.
creation of Asgardia.
That's fair. Nowadays,
And now it's
he
no
just said
longer
20
just
months have
an
passed since the
idea.
announcement. So
On the contrary, now there are some 200,000 Asgardians in more than 200 countries of the world.
well, he's saying there's 200,000
We have
people
our
as
own
part of this nation.
territory
Signed up.
on the Asgardia 1 satellite.
Here they have
The
a chunk of
Constitution,
the Asgardia 1
flag,
satellite that they've claimed
and
as their
anthem,
land.
Dude, 20 months
Coat of
ago, isn't that
arms,
when Donald Trump won the
and
election?
our own calendar.
I don't know. But this came out in
The
June.
Parliament has been elected
This happened
as
in
well
June.
as its Speaker, the Chief Justice, and acting Prime Minister have been appointed.
Right about that.
The elected head
They're
of
like,
nation
Trump's
has just been
president, we gotta get
inaugurated.
to space.
We have thus established all branches of
Like,
nation.
oh god, we gotta
Yeah, I
find
think so.
somewhere
And
else
now
to
I
fuck
can
kids.
therefore declare
from
Find somewhere
June.
else to bang
confidence
kids. Donald
that
Trump's the
Asgardia,
president. We
the
gotta
first
go.
space nation
start
of
outer
the United
If you go back
Humankind
from this
has been
June,
born.
8 months is last October, November 2017. So,
So
20
that-
months would be.
That
October,
dude has a bunch of connections to the UN. So
that makes
this-
sense.
This
He looks like John
whole-
Bolton.
Yeah, yeah, he looks.
Well, the entire the logo was that flower of life inside the UN
Circle.
olive.
Yeah, there was some other stuff in there too.
Yeah.
Man, okay. That's why we need a space force, bro. This is exactly why we need a space force. We need to take care of these crazy assholes going into outer space trying to start their own country.
Asgards, dude.
What?
Asgardians.
Sorry.
Asgardians.
Where did this dude come from?
He's Russian. He's been involved in like space for most of his life,
my-
science for most of his life.
Dude.
He's a billionaire.
The shit's getting weird,
Yeah.
man. The shit's getting so weird. This is not okay. I feel like I'm in weird improv right now.
No, this is
It's
real
just
life,
going
dude.
off the rails a little bit.
200,000 people signed up to be a
So,
space
you-
station colony.
Yeah.
I've heard this has been attempted to happen in the United States at least once, or in like some chunk of land where if you have enough people, you can declare yourself a sovereign nation.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's attempted to happen in various places throughout the world, but this seems like it's like UN stamp of approval kind of thing.
Yeah. They own the air, apparently, that they're going to live on. That's crazy.
Air? There's no air in space.
Yeah, that's true.
dude.
The vacuum that they're going to live
And
on.
you know what, freaks? They can do whatever they want up there because in space, no one can
So,
hear you scream,
can you just
bro.
Throw up chunks of metal into space and start selling it off.
Right.
Is that what's happening?
You can do anything. It's like being a pirate. Have you ever?
There is going to be some weird space piratey stuff coming up.
Dude, have
That's
you ever
that's
heard
probably
of-
out of our lifetime.
I mean, I don't know why there are pirates. Have you ever heard of seasteading, Joe?
No.
Do you know what seasteading is, Mark?
Oh, where you like live on this at the sea, like homesteading, but on
Yeah,
the sea.
right. You live in a
Yes.
bubble under the sea.
Well,
Under
people-
the sea?
Well,
Yeah.
that could
Under
be.
the
Oh,
sorry.
I mean, that was Jabberjaw. I think that was that cartoon Jabberjaw.
Yeah, Sea Lab
No, there's
2021.
people who are actually planning on living like that. And they're like making small steps to do it. They'll spend like 6 months in these pods underwater.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen
Are they
like
hoarders? Do they have stacks of newspapers in their houses in the other times?
No, they're just like,
How many cats do these people have?
they're like marine
People are
biologists.
nuts.
Too
I've
much
seen
time
like
on their hands.
conceptual drawings for it. Like you take these big elevators down, and it's always like off the coast, and then you go down and like go off the shelf.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about with seasteading. What seasteading is these guys they're like trying to start these cities where you have your own like boat. Like imagine a giant pontoon with your house on it, like a big houseboat, and you can have like a yard. Imagine your house in your yard on a big boat, and then you can attach to other people's boats, and that's how you form your nations is by linking up with people's boats and having rules for like being able to attach and like you could have full-on floating cities out in the middle, like aircraft carrier size.
Yeah. Have you ever seen those
things.
big those drawings of like the big floating cities and on the water? There's all sorts of like conceptual architectural drawings of
I
these
bet
sort
there's
of
some
things.
out there. I bet people have those, and they're just off the like people don't talk about them. I bet
they-
some really rich people have like these floating islands out there that
They just buy real islands.
I mean, they could do that, but
Kill off all the
I think
natives.
it's better to be mobile and be able to like dissolve it and break it down.
I like the idea of being able to like just I don't agree with what you guys are doing and detach and go hook up with a different group.
Until you realize what kind of freaky stuff could go on in international waters,
Right?
dude.
Yeah.
Like there ain't no rules out on the open sea.
Can't call the police.
And space is even worse, dude. You can't call them anybody. You gotta call Space Force.
You gotta
dude.
call the Asgardians now.
You gotta
man.
call the Asgardian
That's
Space
so
Force.
weird.
Who's protecting the realm, dude. Do you think that's... do you think aliens are coming? I don't believe in aliens myself. Or, like, if they're real, I don't think they come from another planet. Like, I think they're like demons. I think the demons might be about to show themselves, though.
Oh yeah.
And lie about being from outer space.
There's a little out there for me. I'm a big alien believer.
Yeah, I like aliens.
Yeah, I'm a big pro alien.
Well, man, I don't know. It just depends on how far our world goes. Like,
I've seen too many UFOs to not be pro alien.
You've seen UFOs?
Oh yeah.
What? Tell me about it.
Okay, so the one that I really enjoy, I like this is sharing first. So I was in college, and I was walking like out of my apartment, and you walk like out the front, and then I'm walking just to the other end of the apartment complex. So I turn up from my sidewalk, and I see the Big Dipper, and I just like I'm kind of like an amateur astronomy nerd. So I recognize the Big Dipper immediately as I turn and see it in my peripherals. It's like a real clear night too. And then, but there's a light in the cup, right? So I look up at it, and in the span of a half a second, it goes from being the brightest thing around it to almost like too faint to see. And as it gets so that faint, another light that was equally as faint comes over to it, and then they both changed their directions and shot off.
No way.
So
in the middle of the Big Dipper?
Yeah, like
What?
my perspective put
Get
it
out
in
of
there.
here. You're making this up.
No. So my perspective put it there. So what it was like it seemed to me that something, it's a long ways from it where I went to college. It's in the middle of Michigan, but there's the Great Lakes and shit like that, and there's all sorts of the UFO stories of coming out of the Great Lakes and things like that. So I just saw something leaving our planet and just meeting up with something else.
I don't know. I've never seen a UFO. I think maybe if I saw one, I would believe in it more.
I've never seen one, but like I'm a believer. I think
Why?
there's aliens. I don't know.
Well, the idea of UFO just by itself as an unidentified flying object, like
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
And like the military makes stories, but like that's the big thing for me is I look at these Air Force pilots and what they say about it and all their talks and these like Air Force base brats, like the kids who grew up bouncing around to Air Force bases because their parents were in charge or like generals or whatever. And the stories that they tell about UFOs and things happening with the missile silos and all of this kind of stuff, it's really hard to refute. Like these people are claiming that they were there, and they have the credentials to in the military time there.
Man,
and also the government of Mexico acknowledges that there's balls of orange light that they've tracked on there.
Well, that's the crazy part when you consider all of the like high level sources and whistleblowers that come out. Like, there's tons of whistleblowers coming out in like every institution.
In every institution, it's
everywhere.
very strange. It's very strange.
And it's like if you believe it all, like they can't all be true. They can't all be
right.
true.
Absolutely.
But like
it's hard to believe that 0%.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Some of
real
them
hard
have
to
to
believe
be.
that 0% are true.
And man, it's crazy. But then like people take advantage of that and then
Absolutely.
just like
Well, see, that's the thing. Anywhere where you can capture people's money or emotions, like there's going to be people trying to take advantage of that. So you have to use your own discernment and you have to do your own research and things like that. But just because those like things exist where people try to take advantage or throw out disinformation doesn't mean that the truth isn't coming out wedged in between there too.
I mean, I base my entire need for a military on the fact that I think there's probably some kind of insectoid alien race that wants to just destroy us. So I think we should always be ready to be able to defend ourselves against a being like that. Like,
But do you think they're aliens like from another planet?
What is that?
yeah, why not?
Why aren't they demons from hell? Like that's what I
Why do
think
they have to be demons from hell?
I mean, that just makes more sense because
Why can't there be demons from hell and aliens from other planets?
Okay, that's Alien versus Predator. If you saw the movie, you would know that they've already covered this. And yeah, I think that's one of the more true to life movies out there. It sounds a little crazy, but hey, take a few bong rips and check it out. You might have the Bible next to you, and you might find a different reading of that movie. I don't know. Have you seen Prometheus and all the alien
I haven't
movies?
seen Prometheus.
Yeah, I have. I love those movies.
See, like I feel like outer space is just a part of Earth. Like once we go there, it's Earth. Like it's not.
Would you go as far as
It's not outer space anymore. It's like our space.
So there's
Ooh, that's good. Hold on.
Yeah,
It's not outer. Hold on. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make a camera. It's not outer space. It's our space. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Sorry about that. Quit looking at your phone, Mark.
I'm reading the things that people are saying.
What are they saying?
I don't know. They're talking about how aliens are demons from another dimension. MJ
See,
says
I
that.
told
See,
you.
I can believe the
I
dimensional.
told you.
But Vicky Odell says that she saw a flying disc and she wasn't on any substances.
Yep,
So
I was not on any substances when I saw
Kombucha
that. When I was
Gringo
talking about.
thinks that aliens are a psyop.
That's right.
Okay,
aliens
so-
are a psyop.
so-
They're not real, man.
so-
They're to make us feel like we're like small and we're powerless, and there's like this greater entity out there that's not God, but is greater than human. It's like something between like God and His creation. and it's bullshit. I ain't buying it, dude. It doesn't do nothing for me. And it's like, there's no evidence for it. Everybody's like, well, the numbers say. It's like, oh, really? The numbers to me say that there's never been a planet anywhere ever to prove that there's aliens. So where are you getting this statistically proven methodology for your statement that aliens exist? There's no statistics anywhere that are going to back you up on there being aliens. The more planets you find and don't find aliens, the more it proves that there aren't fucking aliens. You like what?
We won't be able to look at a planet and tell for a long time, but
It's so far away.
yeah. Well,
I mean,
just,
it's all theory.
Then they're
Like,
just
it is all theory. See,
Then
that's
they're animals.
That's
They're
the
animals.
thing.
They'll be animals. They're not people.
There
They're
is
not
a-
people. They'll
Well,
be
I
animals.
didn't
Aliens
say
will
that-
be animals.
you don't think there could be intelligent life on a different planet?
How intelligent? Like a dolphin?
no, like us intelligent.
Like, or even more intelligent, especially
Yeah.
if they're able to conquer long distance
Dude,
space travel.
The only
Exactly.
they'd
Well-
have to be human. They'd have to be human, dude.
Well,
We can't even-
Okay,
Black people and white people and Hispanic people and Asian people can't get along. You think I'm gonna get along with some four-eyed freaking lizard freak?
well, there's
dude?
an argument that it's
Like, come on, man.
if a thing like this could exist because of like such the fractal nature
Yeah,
of the
Klingon?
world, like it's very possible that
get along with a guy with a forehead like this? Come
well,
on.
look at how many of the galaxies that we can see. And I will say,
Sorry.
so there's a lot of astronomy that's like theoretical, really,
All
and
of
it's
it is.
weird. It's
All of
very
it is.
strange.
It's just a dot in the sky, and then you can
So-
tell me. Shut
But
up.
if from what we
Scientist.
see, like if it's possible that all these galaxies so far away from each other form in only like a handful of different formations, then you could make an argument that that's just a result of the universe being fractal, and that if there is life on other planets that's super intelligent, it very might be very humanoid because it's a smart way for things to evolve. It just
Yeah.
makes sense on a good
if we
scale.
ran
It's
into
why
humans,
plants share similar degrees in how their leaves forms and things like that. You can look at different species of plants and see similar patterns.
if we ran into humans from a galaxy far, far away, I
Humanoids.
think- yeah, if they look like us,
Yeah.
maybe just like maybe they were
Taller.
purple people. I got a theory about the purple people.
Well, hold on though. Anunnaki, how do you explain that?
What do you mean?
Oh, are we about to dig into Anunnaki? I'm so
mean,
down.
You could, because I know both of you are into that. Like,
Well-
how do you explain that? If you don't believe in aliens, explain that.
That's what I'm there. It's so hard to explain that. I'm not well versed enough to really explain that. I have a few websites I could steer you towards, but the way I understand it is there are different ways of interpreting the world, and there's different stories for different things, and things can exist on different levels depending on how you're trying to communicate, right? So I think these other world entities, I'm not sure. That's why I'm like, if it's another planet and it's in outer space, once we get there, it's not outer space anymore. It's like part of our world. Like, because if we can get there, it's still beneath the firmament of heaven. If we can get to it, like, and this isn't like some flat Earth stuff. It's like the firmament is like that God created, that God placed over our world, is like this bubble that keeps expanding as we go out farther, and it's like the unattained, like that line, that glass ceiling is the firmament. So once we go out into space becomes in the world.
So this is a very like creationist view, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like not like in a like what's that guy's name with like the like I'm not like gonna go build a replica of Noah's Ark and put
Right.
dinosaurs on it. Like that's not what I'm saying, because I don't know if I believe in dinosaurs. No, I'm just, they definitely weren't on Noah's Ark. I'll go on record saying there were no dinosaurs on Noah's Ark. Is that a hot take? Is that a hot take or
Hot
what?
take there.
There were. You heard it here first. There were no dinosaurs on Noah's Ark.
Were there chickens?
I don't. There must have been. I don't know. I don't know how that story works. That's a conversation for a different
Yeah.
day. I don't know. We could talk about the literalness of the Bible, but we'd need a real Bible expert in here.
Flood stories.
The flood stories. Well,
Yeah.
I
those are
think
interesting.
I think the flood story is true.
I do too.
100%.
I very much agree with the flood story.
Like,
Yep.
and I think it has to do with the Anunnakis to have something. If I'm being completely honest.
I mean, it's around that same time
See,
frame.
This is why you got to be careful when you start getting into stuff like this. Because
Yeah, I'm really.
Well, what's your definition, or like, what is your interpretation of the whole Anunnaki story?
I'm a believer in the gods from outer space kind of outline that some form of higher consciousness, different intelligent, maybe higher intelligent, visited the Earth some number of thousands of years ago, and whether or not how much influence has been had from there, I don't know. Because this can go real back. Because if you want to go like talking about this, like this is like Pleiadian kind of stuff to me, and way out there. Because the stories of the Anunnaki kind of thing that I hear of, like, and like you said, I'm not really well versed in it. What I have heard is that they were involved with the fall of Babylon. It's some sort of amphibian, like extra-dimensional race. That is written about in the Old Testament, or this
Because it's Babylonian tablets, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. And they
it
came from the water. They had different skin and eyes. There's a really good album, actually, by Bright Eyes that does this really weird, or Connor, or was one of these, I don't know, it was released years ago. The People's Key does this really weird intro with this dude from, I think he's based out of Arizona, but it's this like old shaman dude that talks about all this Anunnaki stuff and all these stories about it. It's really great. But like this, see what you're pulling up is interesting in Lemuria and all this stuff. And it's been a while for me since we like reading about this. Really around 2012, I was really about the Pleiadian ideas of that. At that time, and for better or worse,
It's some crazy stuff.
it's way out there, man. Like
Yeah.
the idea of like essentially their take was that there was some form of like gene splicing 300,000
right,
years
they're saying
ago.
that they're spliced with the. I've heard about that.
Yeah,
How
that
human
separated them from like whatever other Homo species were around at the time.
Right, and there was some big downfall because the leader was upset that they were mixing with humans, and it became this
Yep.
huge.
And that's the fall of Lucifer.
And then
is the
that's
story
where the Garden
of
of
him.
Eden starts.
Yep,
Yeah.
is that when he came to Earth, he created, So
And so
it's
and I think the theory, a lot of it is that there's those that are created in the image of God, and then there's the Lord God. There's like a split in the Bible. This is, I think, a theory. There's like two God figures in the Bible. There's the God and the Lord God, and the one is the actual creator of the universe, the heavens and the earth, and the other is the ruler of mankind.
Okay,
and
I get what you're saying.
He created man from the clay on the earth. So there's two different types of people, two different types of humans. There's the ones that are created from clay that are ruled by the master of the earth, and then there's the creator up in heaven. And if you look at it like that, that's why God seems to contradict himself in certain ways. It's because people came in and smudged together the two figures that were polarized in the Bible. And
I think I'd heard that.
It's an interesting way to read it, and like I don't want to be like blasphemous, like I'm not like trying to disrespect anybody's religion or anything, but I do like to explore ideas and read old things in a new way. And man, like it's really interesting when you incorporate just that story and think that, man, people think this. Like people took a lot of time to look up this website here, and like, man, I had so much. This website is fun to look
It's really
through.
Interesting.
Like a lot of it is gobbledygook if you don't really know what you're reading.
But there's something to be said for just what you said, exploring ideas. Like Like that whole, like everything about Pleiadians or all that stuff that I've heard, I'm not sure that I would ever say, like, I believe that that's true, but I've have looked at it and then take that lens at times and look at other things like passages from the Bible or from these old texts. And when you do that, it does change your outlook and your perception on these things.
Well, what I think mostly is
it's worth exploring these ideas, not shining them off as crazy talk.
Our religion, we get this white bread version of our religion, and man, Christianity is like this mystical, weird, almost like
it's super
weird magic and like just miracles, and like it's like almost like voodoo almost. It's like some weird freaky stuff happens in the Bible, man. Mm-hmm. And like the whole thing is this crazy trip where like events just unfold like prophecies and like time, you know, existing in more than one, like the same story recurring throughout time with little twists, and like it's a crazy psychedelic book, and like you can use it and apply it as a tool, which is like the craziest thing. Yeah. So, this, I don't know, the weird mysticism and the magic that kind of leans into what's that? You brought some books.
Oh, I brought a couple random books. I don't know where they're in my bag.
I'll grab it.
One called Condensed Chaos.
So do you see this right here?
What's
Creating
this?
Reality.
Yeah. Okay.
The best way to predict the future is to create it.
Interesting.
Right? Our thoughts and prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts and prayers, listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a place of righteousness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. And like, that's powerful, because if you look at everything, like if you're conscious of what you're putting into your brain and the thoughts that you're having, you get to guide where you're going, because consciousness is leading you into the future rather than just this unfiltered mess. And if you like use God, like the presence of God in your mind as this filter, and just listen to your thoughts before you let them like manifest as words in your mind, you can, that's the power of prayer. Like you can use the words to manipulate your path in the world. I think like you can create literal channels in your brain that will create patterns in your behavior that will lead you to where you want to go subconsciously, because your brain knows how to get you where you want to go if you tune in to like the frequency of the universe and just like guide what you're doing and what you're thinking, and have it all lined up, mind, body, and spirit, in one, like just you know, like your body, you know, just one big thing, this all-encompassing cohesive structure that was created to create, you know, created by a creator to create. And that's why like magic stuff is really interesting, and you got to be careful that you don't like abuse it, because it's like if you know that that's what you're doing, if you're not guided by that little voice that's telling you right from wrong, you know, the little Geppetto, or not Geppetto, the little Jiminy Cricket in your brain telling you like right or wrong, if you don't listen to him, you can like do some crazy stuff with magic. People, Aleister Crowley, like you can like
you gotta watch that Heaven's Gate.
Like we might be in the situation we're in right now because of Aleister Crowley and the momentum that he set into the world. You know, like you never know.
It's
like,
hard to. He at least let the Pandora. It's a interesting like counter. So it's Psycho Cybernetics and by Maxwell Maltz, and Condensed Chaos. That's just Phil Hine. But those two stand out to me because they're kind of taking different angles on the same thing that you said there. The Psycho-Cybernetics books is really like the foundation of all like the self-help books that are on now that talk about like visualization and positive self-talk.
The Secret.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And it gets diluted from a lot of the things that he was saying, which is essentially exactly what you just said. It's about reprogramming your mind, and then you do that over with anything over even emotional damage. That's the one that stood out to me because that's really not a popular look at right now. But if taking your own emotional scars and recreating a self-image that doesn't have those on them.
You ever see the movie Groundhog's Day?
Yeah, it's a great film.
You know, here's an interesting thought experiment. Mark, tell me what you think about this. So Groundhog's Day. It sounds crazy that you would be living the same day over and over and over again. But it really isn't. I think we are in Groundhog's Day.
Very much
and
so.
we're all in Groundhog's Day. So we all get a chance to try today over every single day. And everybody does, so everything's different. And Groundhog's Day was just about one guy having the same day over.
Oh, okay.
But we're all having the same. We're all having the same day over and over again. We can all just start over new every single day if we wanted to.
And just throughout time, throughout these repetition of days, we've
like
set up agreements of time and
we're
calendars.
Putting ourselves into this box in our own little Groundhog's Day. Yeah,
that's a cool thought.
And
at
like
least.
you can decide whether you see your own shadow. You know, like
well, you all get the chance to make the right decisions. Like every day, you get a chance to make today to be the one that you made the right decisions and everything worked out the way you wanted it to. It doesn't happen every day.
It's good, but it's Groundhog's Day though because it's like the changing of the seasons, and it's like if the groundhog
especially
sees
winter
a
to
shadow
fall or
and runs
winter
away,
to spring.
Is he gonna resist the change?
Yeah.
Or is he going to?
If he sees his own darkness, is he gonna run away from the change that's inevitable?
It's like that's like.
Is he gonna
religion.
just put it off?
Like that's what I mean about like religion being mystical and like weird.
It is
and
very
magic because like that's part of the American religion. Does that make sense? Like Groundhog's Day is America. Like that's part of it. Like it's stupid, it's silly, but it's this weird tradition that everybody knows about, and we all like. How you wake up and you're like, oh, the groundhog see his shadow. Oh, there's another 6. I don't even know it. 6 weeks of winter. What is it?
Something like that.
But like,
pretty arbitrary.
We all know about Groundhog's Day. It's part of our religion, and it's based on like some. You can like put some weird, like psychological, spiritual, philosophical, like woo stuff over top of the meaning of Groundhog's Day. You know, and like, what does it actually come from? I don't know. It probably comes from some ancient pagan religion
I'm sure
that's been put in by Freemasons created into a holiday.
All of those Catholic religions were based on paganism because it made the switch easier. It made the transition of taking all those like Eastern or European nations from paganism to Christianity. If they said, let me keep our winter solstice holiday, and they said, yeah, we'll call it Christmas.
I think it's partially that. It partially makes the switch easier, but it's also like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We're gonna keep that idea.
Sure.
You know, like you guys were right about that, and we didn't have something for that, so we're gonna add that to our book.
It's possible, yeah.
And you know, like when you look at the Bible as like the original hyperlinked document that like references the entire thing throughout, and every sentence has a little number that goes with it, so you can reference every single sentence and every single phrase, and like have callbacks from the beginning of the book to the end, and have prophecies in the early part that comes back 300 pages later in a book written by some other guy 50 years later in a different timeline. Like, it is so cool. I think they should release the Bible book by book, like you do an encyclopedia. I think that would be a cool book series. Just and they'd be small.
Well, see,
that would be really cool to have like the different volumes, like to like separate it out.
Sure, you could find it.
And like, I don't know, but I guess then people could like mix and match their own Bibles, and that would be.
I like Jordan Peterson's interpretation of the Bible, how it's like the first hyperlinked text ever.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There's peace. Yeah, exactly. It's the way he puts it is crazy. It's like the internet.
That must be
it's
where
the internet before we had computers. Like,
well,
that's
that makes
what it
sense. That makes sense. I grew up very Catholic, so I have a very strong distrust for everything.
It's like that website I was just showing you is kind of like how this is a hyperlinked document here. Like, everything you click on goes to another thing where you can click on other things, and they all kind of lead. You can just walk through this website and just keep going through different stuff, and it all connects to each other. It's all related. Like
0 point.
all of these ideas. That's why when you are trying to learn about different philosophies and different like religions, you can't just read a little bit about it and then think you understand. Like it's a whole entire like gestalt understanding that you have to have. Like you have to understand the big picture. So you have to read a little bit about the whole thing, not just a little bit. Like you have to read a little bit about this, 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 and then you have like a low definition Atari 8-bit version of the world that you can see. And then now you can be like, okay, I can kind of see this blurry picture here of what they're trying to get at, so that I can go in and get a little bit of more higher resolution in there, and like, okay, now I'm playing Super Nintendo, you know, and then eventually you can hopefully get past the uncanny valley, you know, and like get to actually having a real interpretation, a real working model of the world with no funny stuff. No, it's like actually clear. You can see it for what it really is. But I think just like in that we see with our computing power, we can't pass the uncanny valley. And like with our brains, like we can't quite see the future. You know, like we can't come up with this working model that works perfectly. I think it's just the nature of the universe. I think it's just impossible because.
Well, that's it's not. There's arguments that that's not really what our brain was made for. It was not putting together the future. It's
but it
understanding
kind of
the past.
Is. I would argue that it is. It's about like reconciling the.
You put the past together to predict the future.
Right. Yeah. But it's
but
not.
That's like.
It doesn't. But then
foot.
Exactly, you're doomed to repeat your past. Then.
Yes.
You're doomed to repeat your mistakes.
Yes, Kanye West was talking about that.
Yeah,
that was his whole thing.
And that's like, the idea of following like intuition or something aside from your own logical understanding of the world and acting on impulse and at times and things like that.
Yeah, and you know we're in an era right now where we don't have the same survival requirements that we had before.
Not at all.
And I don't know, but we got to be
completely different.
So like it's a paradigm shift is necessary, and I think it's inevitable, and I think it is unavoidable, and I think it's already happened.
So,
but I don't think the answer is to like just full on abandon everything that has got us here, because what happens when we go back to where we were and then we start at square one? Like,
so what do you think a paradigm shift looks like? Like a practical, like put into, you know what I mean? Like if it's this change in how humans behave or interact with the world or govern or self-govern or whatever. What do you think that looks like?
I think it's the age of the Aquarius, the age of the flood, the great deluge, chaos. It's like just disorder. You don't know what's going on.
I think it's what we're experiencing in our culture right now.
Exactly, and I don't think it's going to stop for another. Okay, so when like look at the wave, like if we've peaked and we're on our way out, like we got how long did it take to build it up? Like that's how long until it comes back, and like it's another 60 years. 60 years before there's another dictatorship. You know, like a mass dictatorship is going to take over the world. 60 years. That's my prediction, or less. You know, like.
See, it's real hard to draw a picture right now of
not really
what the next
if
stages
you look at
look like.
Most countries, not most countries, but a large portion of countries have like dictators in power right now.
Well,
that
right
seems
now,
to be the way that the world's going in a crazy way.
And I do understand like this push for elections and things. Or, you know, we live in a very liberal town that's very pro elections and things like that. Which is great at the local level, but the federal elections don't matter. They what we voted in 2016 didn't matter.
Arnold doesn't care, dude.
Well, they were corrupt. They were broken. There's corruption all along the whole path. There's direct evidence for some, but
are you calling me
there's
corrupt?
tons. There's tons in there. And even so, you can make the arguments, would we not be doing more or less the same things? Like there was I just was looking at videos of in 2014 of like Hillary Clinton saying when kids get at the border with their parents, like undocumented immigrants, we need to split them up and send the kids back.
Hillary didn't say that. No. Hillary did not say that.
When did she say that?
It was 2014.
Yeah.
Something like that.
What did she say?
That, dude, you got to send them back. Send the kids back.
Well, the problem with...
Split them up. Yeah, not trying to find them, not try to, get them,
I think one of the legitimate problems with the whole border, what to do with the children there, is that it seemed to be like there was in place a situation where if you were a person crossing the border with a child, you wouldn't get imprisoned.
Right.
Which creates incentive to traffic children through the border. Because if you have children, they can't arrest you. And it's a really messy situation because all these people are coming through the border without documents. So how do you prove that this is actually this person's child? And like there was a lot of that going around. There was a lot of mistakes with that going around. And yeah, it's a messy situation.
Said, what about President Obama? Gentlemen, I'm sorry, said President Obama is the deporter in chief.
This is like, when is this?
I mean, the horror of a father or a mother going to work and being picked up and immediately whisked away, and children coming home from school to an empty house and nobody can say where their mother or their father is. That is just not who we are as Americans.
So there she's saying she thinks fewer people already here who are working, who are not doing anything wrong after obviously they broke the law to get here, but they should be able to stay. But listen to this. We've had this crisis in recent days of all these children stacking up in detention centers at the border. On that one, Hillary Clinton took a much tougher line, saying no, they can't stay.
They should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them can be sent back. But I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families.
So she wants to jail the parents and send the children back.
I mean, that's liberals are going to say,
what
hey,
you
wait
do
a minute,
when
right?
Yeah, I think so.
When you
find
find
one example, I think from this
a
town
child
hall
being abused
of her
by a parent?
either
Absolutely,
taking both
and then you
sides,
find proper care.
Well, issues.
We can make
being
arguments
cautious.
about the
but yeah, I think you're
foster
right.
care
I
system,
think that after saying in one breath that the president should have more leeway on this issue and should be more sensitive to families, and then taking sort of like a harder
my
line,
point being,
which
though,
you might hear
like
from
I see
the
very
House
little
Republican,
difference,
and the next
at
breath
least when
was
it comes to the
Well,
military industrial complex of like what's happening in the White House. It doesn't matter who the president is; the wheels on that thing turn regardless.
Oh yeah, no,
and that's the bigger issue, because that's what's causing the totalitarian state in it. It's what's causing, like.
Did you hear?
It's so obvious. We spend millions, billions of dollars in black spending.
Did you hear the tape with Omarosa?
I haven't heard all of them.
Okay, so this is what you were talking about, how like the wheels just keep turning. She got fired, and she recorded her phone call with Donald Trump, and she's like, "Did you hear? They asked me to leave," and he says, "No, I didn't hear." Damn it! Like he didn't know. Like he didn't know he got fired, and he says, "Yeah, they've got a whole big operation going." And like,
he would also just say that though.
And they the place I heard it, they were showing that clip to make him look bad, like oh, he doesn't know what's going on. But to me, it's like, no, they've made the president like pretty much powerless in a lot of ways.
What's happening. Like, but I could also see him just saying like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know," but really he knew full well.
Yeah, that could be too. Like he might be just like being a nice guy, like schmoozing.
But it is. I heard this argument. I think it was like on the Jimmy Dore show or something. Like how insane it is that because Trump's in office, like the same kind of people or the same sort of tone that just a couple of years ago was like, "Hey, let's not trust the CIA and this shady things they're doing, and let's get some more, transparency on things that are happening," are now very, very pro the special intelligence agencies in our country. Yeah. Because you have a polarizing figure. So that means we can be pro NSA and pro, all these people watching us online and saving all of our records and phone calls and emails, and that what's happened in such a short time that's made everybody sort of lose sight of that. But it might just be the ball's rolling a little further down the road, so it's harder to see the small things go away.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. I'm real happy now.
Why is that?
What's up?
I don't know. That was the real happy thing you just said.
Well,
you really cheered me up.
Well, if you... I don't think we're, like, on some sort of path of doomed to, you know, be in some sort of...
I think we have the potential to if everyone sits around and becomes lazy about
Right. I think if
thinking.
everyone is very complacent and digs their head into the sand and allows things to happen. But, like...
It's like you were saying, though, man. Like, we've all been, like, scared of this dystopian future.
Yeah.
And we walked right into it.
It's
man.
right
like,
here.
We're here.
The idea of like I remember reading 1984 in high school and going, man, it's really great that they're reading in high school and 90% of the students are just making fun of it and laughing at it. Like that's wild to me. Like the concept alone of Big Brother is absolutely right here. We can be watched. Most places you go in an urban environment, you're being watched. You're being recorded.
Right,
you might as well.
You might even be on camera right now.
I might be. I have a weird sneaking suspicion.
What did we say? It was now it's the fear of loss of pleasure?
Yeah. The argument of that 1984 was an argument that the government's going to use fear to control, and Brave New World was an argument that the government will use pleasure to control.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And it's in reality
they just decided to do both at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
They got us. God dang it.
Yeah. Well, in what was that? I don't want to go down that hole. Maybe
the sort of surge of illegal.
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good. But yeah, that's why I asked though. Like, what does that image of the world that is an alternative picture to the totalitarian state, like, what's that look like? Does it require like a collapse of the actual government? You know, or like the United States as we know it? Is it like a too far gone thing?
I don't think so, man. I think we're good.
I was kind of one of those idealistic Bernie. I wouldn't say I was a Bernie bro because I disagree with a lot of his policies on economics, but I agreed with the idea that he could maybe shake up the system in a non-chaotic way.
And then you know what kind of freaks me out about Bernie a little bit, and it's only from what he said, and he's right. Like, the radical left has become the mainstream left.
Yeah,
and
it has.
Yeah. That's crazy to me that, like, the problem is like, as a child, a lot of these radical ideals really appealed to me. But now that I'm older...
Like communism or...
Yeah, sure, like communism and socialism and things like that, and like revolution of the society. Yeah. But as you get older and you start to really think about it, the amount of death and destruction wrought by a revolution doesn't really seem to outweigh the benefits of it. So it's like, maybe you should really start to think about this before you try and overthrow the government and the paradigm of the way people live.
And most of those revolutions do eventually lead to a similar problem.
Right.
Because if you're trying to destroy a problem in the same... Like, this was an old Einstein quote, or something to this effect, was that if you try to solve a problem with the same mind that created it, you're going to end up in the same situation.
Right. Well, and a lot of times, too, when you're looking at, like, something like a revolution... It's like, sure, you could get really good at the revolution and good at overthrowing everything and destroying everything, but you're not quite that good at running a government.
Right.
So, like, you're going to spend all this time ripping it apart, and then when it actually comes time to putting it together and running it, you're going to be like, oh.
Which is why
everybody can tear down a house.
Yeah, it takes a lot to build
a house.
Right.
I do see that there's a lot to be. There's a lot in the possibility of really opening up state rights and tuning down the federal. Say on everything, because then you could run 50 different statewide experiments for different kinds of, at least large-scale government. It would still be pretty large at that scale.
Good ideas will spread.
You could have whole states that allow, you know, a county or a section of counties or even the whole state to do incredibly localized government.
You were
and
talking
commune
about the
sort of
fractal.
government.
You were talking about the fractal nature
Yeah,
of the universe.
absolutely.
And we need to. It goes as above, so below. So like we need to go down too on that micro level and take that same.
Sure.
Stop the federal government from having control, and then one level down the state, then one level down. Boom, one level down, one level down. Where it's like we all take accountability for ourselves, and then. The same way, if a state has a good idea, it will spread. If we all take accountability for ourselves and have positive effects and positive outcomes in our lives, people are going to see that we're doing good things, and then they're going to be like, hey, I want to do what that guy's doing because it's a good idea. The same way that the states next to Colorado want to legalize marijuana after they see how much money they're making. It's like, oh, if you see me go out and get a job and make a shitload of money and buy a house and a fancy car, you're going to be like, wait, if I want a house and a fancy car, all I got to do is go out and get a job? Like, it will spread. If people want that, that's what they will get. They will have a model for it if everybody does what they want to do and just takes accountability for themselves.
I agree with that.
And lives their own lives. And I'm ready. Like, I'm all in, baby. I'm going to be accountable for everything from here on out. Like, in the past, I'm not perfect, man. Like, I've skirted responsibility. And, like, I've tried to, like, get away with stuff I shouldn't have got away with. And I've been, like, not a perfect person. But, like, from here on out, like, I'm committed to, like, being accountable for everything I say and everything I do. Because it's the only way I'll be able to go to sleep at night without wanting to kill myself, man. Like, I can't do it to myself anymore. And I can't do anything if I can't be accountable for my own actions. And I expect the same from others. It's not too much to ask. Because even though it's hard, but like, I think everybody can do it, man. I think everybody can do it. I think you can do it. I think I can do it. I don't know if Mark can do it because he keeps fucking texting.
I'm not texting. I'm reading the chat.
What are they saying?
There's a bunch of stuff.
Well, why are you telling me? What are you reading it for and just keep it in your head? You're just going to read it and then be like, Jesus.
Dude, I think that that's what we're in, is the revolution of the individual right now.
Do you know what I think we're in?
And that's not to discount the community. I never want to say it's a revolution of the individual that takes away from the community. It takes good individuals with their own set of beliefs and philosophies to make
a strong community. There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
It's a great show.
Ooh.
Wait, what's this?
It was ominous.
What's this one? I want to see this one too.
What are we watching now?
I don't know. I think we're winding down. We're in the outer limits, basically. Is what I was saying.
Oh.
We are gone. We are in a controlled state where everything we see and everything we hear is controlled. But this is what Mark was talking about with Asgardians under the sea or whatever.
Voyage to the bottom of the sea. Starring Richard Basehart.
That's why I was saying, man, I really see... oh, nice.
Voyage to the bottom of the sea.
Really see the possibility of a real, actual competitor to YouTube popping up in the next couple of years based on all this censorship.
Sure. Well, you know what the funny thing to me about, and I'm more of a free market person when it kind of comes to the whole Alex Jones situation, in that I am okay with letting YouTube and Facebook and all those people delete him, because he's going to go create another platform. The only way these online platforms work is if there are people who everyone else want to listen to on those platforms.
Right, yeah.
If you're going to just keep kicking all these people off that people want to listen to off your
go create
platform.
their own.
Imagine if Alex Jones and Joe Rogan, all they need were 2 guys. If they kick Joe Rogan off, or something
honestly,
like that, they would team up.
I didn't mention it, but
Like,
I don't know if he's down that domino line of getting censored.
Like, nobody's on fucking MySpace anymore. Okay, does
Right.
anyone remember MySpace?
Right.
And we're freaking out about how Facebook is like this gigantic. No, it can fall. Like, the whole thing can topple because people don't want to go there anymore.
You're right.
All we have to do is not go there and go to other place that's doing the same thing. And you can create those places because it's a fucking internet. You need a server and an idea. That's what startup companies are so amazing.
Okay, Mark, I'm glad you said that. We got a Real Video account. We're going to put all our videos up on there now, too. Okay? Can we do that, Mark?
Sure.
That's easy, right? We have the account. We've got the whole thing set up.
There you
go. We got to just start transferring all our videos from YouTube over to Real.video and just build that. And it's a new startup thing, but, like, we'll get on the ground floor with that. Like, what?
Real HD, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. We're
High
in
definition
HD.
Tyler Baggins.
Coming at you live from the Hotbox. Hey, everybody, thank you. And again, Monday is going to be a really good one. This one sucked. Don't. If you listen to the whole thing, I'm sorry. But if you listen to the whole thing, you're definitely going to listen Monday too, probably. Let's be honest. But Monday we got Nick Hart going to be here, and keep tuned for Owen Schroyer coming up in the next month. So thanks, guys. See you later. All right, that is all. We are done.
Cool.
Back to the pod that I sleep in.